welcome to your midweek serving of loose news and views. Today, the kooky princess of pop, Kate Bush, is 50 years old, so happy birthday, Kate. In her honour, let me introduce today's Hounds of Love. From wuthering heights to a withering sight, no really, it's the brilliant Sherry Houston.
Yes, come on, everybody, thank you, that's awesome.
The only time you'll see this lady running up that hill is when she might miss last orders. It's Carol McGiffin. You won't catch her running too often either, not with her babushkas. It's Colleen Nolan. And here to give you a deeper understanding of all kinds of issues, it's me, Andrea McLean. Coming up, we've had divorce fairs, divorce congratulations cards, and now divorce parties. But is divorce something really to celebrate? Plus, she found fame alongside Beyonce Knowles and Kelly Rowland as part of Destiny's Child, and it was only to be expected that she would at some point go it alone. Here to tell us all about her debut solo release, it's Michelle Williams, and he's the ex-Blue Boy who's soon to be treading the boards for the first time in London's West End. That's Lee Ryan, and bringing their brand of Celtic soul. Later on, we'll be having a corking performance from Dublin trio, The Script. Right, the summer holiday season is certainly in full swing, and if you're looking for a beach book, well, we may have the answers. We're taking a look at some of the hottest summer reads. Yes, once again, it's time for...
We're all going on a summer holiday. No more
Side page turners. Oh, it's a cracking one, Liz.
left her on a summer holiday.
Now, this week's Summer Beach Read is by Sharon Griffiths. It's called The Accidental Time Traveller, and it tells the story of Rosie Harford, who, after a blazing row with her man, arrives at her next reporting assignment, an interview at her local housing estate that's being used as part of her TV reality show set in the 1950s. Suddenly, she finds herself transported back in time and at first assumes she's becoming an unsuspecting part of the show. Then goes on to realise she's actually travelled back in time to the 1950s. So that got us thinking, would it be good to time travel? And is there anywhere that you'd like to go?
Oh, I'd love to go to the future, wouldn't you? Oh, just the thought of how exciting. Do you know, I'll just tell you something now. There are... No, I haven't been yet, but I'm building a time machine. No, the thing is, do you know that we're all losing our little toes? Did you know that? No, it's true. Have a look the next time you look. And I think bits of us are dropping off. Yeah, and so...
You were dropping off.
Well, in the future...
Leaking out of an ear, maybe.
Well, we'll have all morphed into one. A man and woman will be the same. Pigs and cows, horses and goats will all morph into one. And bits of us will have dropped off, bits that we don't need anymore. So, well, all sorts, like your toes, your ears, all sorts of things we don't use. And therefore, I'd like to go to the future. You won't in the future because you'll have something else that does it for you.
Why do you want to go into the future and see that?
Yeah, because I want to see what happens. And the car, we won't have such things as cars because we'll go through the sky. We won't need cars and
You've been watching too much Tomorrow's World.
I know, and I believe it all. I just think it's... Don't you think it's exciting where we're going? If you think where we've been, where in the last 50 years, where are we now? Where will we be in 100 years' time?
Well, I mean, I can kind of see your point, apart from, you know, the toes dropping off and that sort of thing. I'm being nice. But, you know, that's obviously way, way, way in the future of Sherryland. Would you like to see what's in the near future of the world of Sherry?
Oh, personal.
No, well, I have to say, I don't really want to see... Do you mean in 20, 40 years?
Thing. Yeah.
No, I think that would be a bit scary because...
As opposed to now, it's
yes,
not scary at all.
No, it's not scary at all.
No.
But in 40 years' time, I might be a bit scary then.
Oh, see, I'd like to see... I don't want to see...
40 years' time, you'll be very scary.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
4 minutes time, actually. I actually am the opposite. I don't want to see what happens to the planet and the world in the future because that feels out of my control, so I don't want to see that. But I would like to see what happens to me in the future so that when I came back, if it was something bad, I could maybe change my fate.
Ah.
Right.
So if I went 5 years ahead and, for instance, I don't know, me and Ray had split up or something, I could come back and go, it's not working, love. Off you go.
Don't waste any more
There's
time.
no point in wasting the next 5 years.
But do you know what? Yeah, I think it might be. I've just thought of something. It might be a good thing to go 100 years into the future and see what's happened to the planet, because then if everything's OK and it's all still the same, then we can turn around to all these people who tell us that we're doomed and we're all dying and they're taxing us out of existence because of, you know, global warming or whatever it is, and it's not going to happen. We can just come back and say, ha, you're lying.
And
Stop
Carol,
trying to rip me off.
And they'll say, oh, I
Brilliant.
see, you've travelled into the future.
Yeah.
OK.
We'll be living on all sorts of planets. We won't just be living on this planet.
Can I just bring it back a little bit and go in the opposite direction? Would you ever like to travel into the past at all?
Oh, yes. Definitely. First of all, I'd go back to the early 90s and I'd buy all those houses that I said I was going to buy that I didn't buy, because now I'd be like a multi-millionaire, which I'm not. No, I don't know. I think I wouldn't like to go anywhere in this century. I think I would, or the last century even. I think I would probably go back to, you know, Roman times, when everyone walked around in togas and ate too much and had giant orgies and things like that. I think that would have been a really...
Did you get blamed for it or named
No,
for it? Yeah.
just, you know, just had
But
a
you
great
live like
time.
that now.
No, I don't.
Yeah, but you have to think, Carol.
There ain't no orgies in my life.
There wouldn't be a dentist. You have to think about that. There wouldn't be a dentist. You'd have no teeth.
Well, you would, though. I'm sure they had dentists. They had underfloor heating.
have
They must
teeth.
have had dentists.
No, they wouldn't have dentists.
I'd like
Do you know,
to,
I've never seen that link before, Carol, but you could have something there.
I'd like to go back, not as far as that, I'd like to go to like the 40s and 50s era, just because I loved the fashion and I loved the fact that women were very feminine and, you know, I loved the pencil skirts and little bobby skirts and things like that in the 50s.
I'd always
and the
kind of-
music I loved in the 40s.
I'd always sort of thought that. I know what you mean, that sort of neatness. Now I think I'm gradually changing as the years go on, and I think I'd like to go back to the 60s and just sort of drop out for a little bit.
Liberate yourself.
Yeah, I do need a little bit of liberation. I could...
I tell you where else would be good to go back to. I've decided. I'd go way back, and I'd like to be Eve.
Eve?
Oh, the ultimate
Well,
power.
I tell you why. Because A, he'd have no one to compare me to.
Yes.
And B, if he didn't like it, I'm the only one he's going to get it with. I like that idea.
Not tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to... I'll tell you, I'd like to be that mistress woman. You know, the mistress of, you know, what's his name? Prince Regent. I'd like to be her. You know, what's her name? That mistress. Oh, you know, she lived in that house in... Well, she didn't live there. He took her there. No. And they had sex there all the time. And then... And his wife didn't know. Well, she would, because she'd be a mistress. That's why. What's her name? You know, she was...
Old Flanders.
No, that's the one with the big bazooka.
I don't know, I'm just naming historic women.
Lily Langtry. Lily Langtry. Yeah, you see, I'd like to be a mistress. Or Elizabeth I. Oh, there she is. Look.
Oh, yeah?
Lily
Sherry,
Langtry.
can I just... You'd be a rubbish mistress because you don't like sex.
No, I do, but I just don't do it.
In a
anymore.
Case in point. OK, join us in the future when after this break we'll be working out what our kids should be doing to earn their summer holiday spends. Back soon. Welcome back to Loose Women this Wednesday lunchtime. I'm Andrea McLean, and joining me on the Loose lineup are Sherry Houston, Colleen Nolan and Carol McGiffin. Now, British children apparently earn more than £50 million each summer washing their parents' cars, and on average get a £5 a time for doing it. But is it a good thing to make children do jobs to earn their summer holiday pocket money? And did any of you wash cars for a living?
No, because where I lived, nobody had a car because it was... Well, they didn't. Do you know what? I'm not joking.
Here we go.
Nobody had a car in my street.
You had a car, you only had one
And
bean.
if someone turned up with a car, it's like, oh, look, there's a car parked in the road. I'm not joking, honestly. No.
What century were you born?
Yeah, what are you talking about? 1918?
No, it was in the 60s. It was, it was a fairly depressed time.
Oh,
it was a
dear.
poor time. Anyway, so no, we didn't clean cars, but we all knew we had to go and earn money if we wanted anything. Like, we couldn't do jobs for my mum. I mean, we obviously expected us to do stuff anyway, which we did, but we didn't get paid for it because she couldn't afford to pay us. So we used to go out and get our own jobs, and I did a paper around from the age of, I don't know, probably about 10 or 11, which wasn't really allowed, but it was the only way I could get money. And for about 5 years, I got up 364 days a year for, wait for it, if you're old, you'll know how much this is, 18 shillings a week, which is 90p in
That's
new
brilliant.
money. A week? A week?
It's brilliant.
To